I've learned that Christmas has a way of making silence louder. Even if you tell yourself it's just another date on the calendar, even if the decorations feel routine and the music sounds like background noise, something changes when the year starts running out of days. The air gets heavier, the nights get longer, and whatever you've been avoiding all year suddenly finds space to sit beside you. That's when the letters came back into my life. Not all at once, not dramatically, just one envelope at a time, arriving during the quiet weeks when the world seems to slow down and everyone else appears to be somewhere they belong. I didn't know then that those letters would undo years of careful pretending. I only knew that they made me stop, and stopping for me had always been dangerous. I want to tell this story the way it unfolded inside me. Not neatly, not heroically, but honestly, because Christmas wasn't the reason my life changed. It was simply the moment when I could no longer hide from it. There is a particular kind of quiet that settles in toward the end of December. It isn't peaceful. It's observant. It watches you. It asks questions without saying a word. Before the letters, my life looked stable, respectable, predictable. I had learned how to build days that didn't ask too much of me. Work routine, small talk, sleep, repeat. I told myself this was maturity. I told myself that wanting more was unrealistic, maybe even selfish. But every December something cracked. I would notice it in small ways. The way the house felt emptier at night. The way memories surfaced without warning. The way I lingered a little too long over old photographs, old emails, old versions of myself I no longer recognized. Christmas had always been like that for me. Not joyful, reflective, a mirror I couldn't turn away from. I had convinced myself I didn't miss much, that what I walked away from had been necessary, that silence was a form of protection. That belief carried me through most of the year, but it weakened every winter. The first letter arrived on an ordinary afternoon in early December. The kind of day where the sky never quite brightens and the air feels unfinished. I remember holding the envelope in my hand longer than necessary. My name was written carefully, deliberately, as if whoever wrote it had taken their time. That alone unsettled me. Recognition doesn't always come as a thought. Sometimes it arrives as a physical reaction, a tightening in the chest, a pause in your breath. A sense that something you buried has just knocked from the inside. I told myself I could open it later, after dinner, after the holidays, after I felt more prepared. I opened it anyway. The handwriting pulled me backward instantly. Years collapsed into seconds. I hadn't seen those letters on a page in decades, but memory doesn't need practice. It remembers what mattered. The letter didn't accuse me, didn't ask why. It didn't demand anything at all. It simply remembered. It spoke about winters long past, about shared silences, about promises that were never spoken loudly enough to survive fear, about a version of me I had quietly abandoned because I thought that was the responsible thing to do. As I read, Christmas lights flickered on in the houses across the street. Warm, inviting, unaware. I folded the letter carefully, my hands shaking more than I wanted to admit. I had spent years convincing myself that the past was quiet. I was wrong. I expected the letters to bring back memories in some logical sequence. They didn't. They arrived fractured, out of order, uninvited. I would be standing in a grocery store and suddenly feel the weight of an old December evening. I would hear a familiar song and be pulled into a moment I thought I had outgrown. Memory doesn't care what you're ready for, cares what you avoided. As more letters arrived, I realized something unsettling. The story I had been telling myself about my own life had gaps in it. Convenient ones. Places where I had replaced honesty with inevitability. I told myself things couldn't have worked out differently. That circumstances had made the decisions for me. That walking away had been the only option. The letters didn't argue with that story. They simply laid another one beside it. And for the first time, I had to consider that silence had been a choice. For years, I avoided calling what I felt love. Love felt too dangerous, too disruptive. too visible. I preferred safer words. Attachment, confusion, timing. But reading those letters during the slow weeks before Christmas, I couldn't maintain that distance anymore. Love has a way of revealing itself when defenses are tired. I remembered how quickly I learned to edit myself, how often I chose safety over truth, how easily I convinced myself that doing the right thing meant erasing the parts of me that wanted something more honest. There is a kind of love that doesn't ask you to change who you are. And there is a kind of fear that convinces you to leave it anyway. I had mistaken avoidance for strength. Silence had always felt noble to me. I told myself I was protecting everyone, preserving stability, preventing harm. I told myself that not speaking was an act of care. The letters revealed the cost of that silence. Years lived at a distance from myself. Conversations that never happened. Futures that were quietly dismissed because they didn't fit the life I thought I was supposed to build. There is grief in loss. And there is a deeper grief in avoidance. I felt that grief most sharply in the evenings, when the house was quiet and December pressed in from all sides. I used to believe regret was useless, a form of self-punishment that kept you stuck. But as the year drew closer to its end, I realized regret wasn't trying to hurt me. It was trying to clarify something. Regret is what honesty feels like when it arrives late. I regretted not speaking sooner. I regretted choosing comfort over courage. I regretted how easily I convinced myself that time would fix what honesty might have healed. Yet regret also showed me something important. If I could feel it, it meant I was still capable of caring. Growing up, I learned quickly which parts of myself were acceptable and which ones were better left quiet. That lesson didn't always come from cruelty. Sometimes it came from love that was afraid. Christmas made those lessons louder. Every year-end gathering, every expectation, every unspoken rule reminded me how much of myself I had learned to hide. I had mistaken conformity for survival, and survival over time had become a kind of disappearance. It took me weeks to write a response, not because I didn't know what to say, but because I finally understood what honesty required. I wrote slowly, without excuses, without rewriting the past to make myself look better. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I didn't promise anything I couldn't guarantee. I simply told the truth. When I mailed the letter, something shifted. Not dramatically, quietly, like alignment returning to a joint that had been out of place for years. Christmas morning arrived without fanfare. I didn't wake up to miracles. The world didn't change overnight. The past didn't resolve itself neatly. But I noticed something different. I felt present, not distracted, not rehearsing regrets, not planning escapes, just present. For the first time in a long time, that felt like enough. The letters didn't give me a new life. They gave me a truer relationship with the one I already had. I started making smaller compromises, asking harder questions, allowing myself to feel things without immediately explaining them away. Self-discovery, I learned, isn't loud. It's corrective. The final letter didn't offer closure. It didn't try to fix anything. It simply acknowledged what had been real. And sometimes that is enough. I know now that Christmas doesn't change people. It reveals them. It slows the world just enough for truth to catch up. I carry those letters with me still. Not as reminders of regret, but as proof that honesty, once invited in, reshapes everything it touches. And if there's one thing this story has taught me, it's this. A life lived honestly may feel lonelier at first, but it is finally, unmistakably, your own.